You found a place to belong here in the Circle of Friends. I'm Missy, and I have a really special treat for you this week, folks. I am really glad you're listening. Troy and Eric, thanks for joining me.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Troy, you're a business associate. We've shared a lot of stories along the way as we've gone out and about and done business. And Eric, I met you on one of those business trips.
Yeah.
And I knew a little bit of the story, but I want to tell you what a delight it's been to hear more in depth of what God has done. Eric, you're from India.
Yes.
And you were raised in a remote village and saw a horrific war and persecution on the run. Came to the United States in a children's choir. Troy, you met him there. And our story is up to the point where Eric has gone home and you've continued on with the choirs and the ministry in the United States. But now you've had a chance to go to India.
I did.
And you met Eric's family. So let's hear a little bit about in the in-between years, Eric. You've described so beautifully what it was like as a child to come from nothing to everything and be here 11 months, and then you went home. You actually went back to nothing, right? What was that like?
It was there was a very big difference between coming from having nothing to coming where everybody have everything, seems like to me at least.
Oh, absolutely.
To going back to nothing. But one trait that connect between the two is I went home to the people who love me.
Yes.
And I was here with people who show me love.
Yeah.
So that I do have. That's the consistency that I do have. And back home I went to the people, my parents who love me, who speak my language. But here there were people who don't speak my language, who I have no clue what they're saying about. But they transcend. They don't speak my language. I don't speak theirs. But you can see love, and it doesn't need to have a language, but you feel it.
Yes.
So I went there, feeling love, to going home to love. So it was the same in that way, and everything else was different.
Yeah. Now, did you continue with your schooling?
Yeah, I continue with my schooling, and I thought this is my chance. So I did everything I could to study, learn, and I never play. We never play. I remember waking up at 6. We would wake up at around 6 or sometimes 4, and then we would go to the river, carry water with a bucket for our day use, and we first do that when we first wake up. So we would go to the river, and the river would be dry, and we would dig a well and try and take some water with a small pan and pour it in your
So
bucket.
the river wasn't even running. It wasn't like dipping a bucket in the river.
It's a seasonal river.
You had to dig down to get to the water and use the pan to,
And then we would do that, my sibling and I. And we would come home and study till 8, eat food in the morning, went to school, come back home, study, and then eat dinner and study around till 11 and sleep.
So just your existence itself was physically demanding because you had to go get water at the river and sometimes dig the well to bring that back. So you had water to survive the day. Did you also, did you have to do anything with crops or the garden or any of those things?
We would have, because we don't, if we are lucky, we eat meat on Sunday. That's the only time we got to eat meat. And the rest of it was our garden vegetable.
Okay.
We would have a home garden, and we would have a garden in the jungle.
And rice, were you able to get rice?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rice was the main. We eat rice every day, so we would have that. And vegetable every day.
And the other day you were telling us about how you manually had to husk the rice.
Yeah.
And that's still part of what, in order to get the rice to eat, were you still doing that, or?
During that time, there's, we still do it, but there were also some supply if you have the money.
I gotcha. Yeah. So, wow, that is an existence I'm not even sure I can wrap my head around. But you had a focus.
Yeah.
You were studying, you were working. You were with your family, in your
Yeah.
family unit. Much love, much unity there, much support in
Yeah.
ways that we can obviously see. Even though you had materially not much, you had
Yeah.
everything in love and support
Yeah.
of your family. And again, they're Christians, so
Yeah.
you're continuing to go to Sunday school and to church
Yeah.
and all of those worship and all of those things.
Yeah.
So Troy, let's jump into your story here. You connected with Eric's family.
I did.
So continue on from there. How did you? Because he's here with you now in the States, and I want to figure this out, man. I mean, I'm getting the backstory here, but
Well, I mean, that first year, 2004, was just amazing to me. Like, I wanted to keep going back. It's some of the experiences Eric talked about that I felt there as far as the love and, maybe on a different level than he did because of not having worn things, but it still was a foreign land, foreign food, foreign language. And to be honest, not to sound prejudiced or anything, but I was the only white guy there kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so you feel awkward,
right, you're experiencing things you don't experience here in
right.
Holmes County. Yeah.
So, but yet you felt that love and that draw, the same thing Eric was talking about. And I just wanted to keep going back.
I want to say this because you put it so well, Eric. It transcends
It
languages.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, they're like my American parents. My mother's sitting out here watching us now, even. And I mean, my Indian parents, I said that backwards, but my mother's here. I have family here, but they become your family as well.
Yes. Yes.
And so you just want to keep going back. And the same that Eric did here, I had to learn things there. How to eat what they eat.
Yeah.
Even the schooling, he talked about a lot of the focus is on academics. And academics is so much different there than here.
Yeah.
School itself starts at 9, goes to 3. There's no break, no
Wow.
lunch, no recess.
Wow.
Backless benches, like much of this county would be used to for church. That's what school was like the entire
Yeah.
day. And just a whole different environment that way as well. And the family caring for you, taking you to, they had what they called the praying spot at the time, like out in the field where they would go to pray and take you there just to pray. And just that, I sensed, for me in my life, I sensed like beginning to know God differently there,
Yeah.
because here again it's so easy just to go to church.
Right.
In a certain way, there's certain components of it that become habitual just
Right.
because it's easy here.
Right. And we have so much, we don't depend on God the way that people who don't have much have to depend
Correct.
on Him.
And in places where you can't even get to church very easily because
Yes.
of persecution and things. And
Yeah.
so I just felt like, for me, that I felt like God was moving in my heart even stronger there than here. Like, from my experience, it just felt like, now this is worship. And just
Yeah.
having a place in the yard to go pray and just, and again, everybody's walk's different, but I came closer to God being there
Right.
in similar fashion to how Eric came closer being here. It just, when God moves you, He moves mountains wherever you're at.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, okay, so your 3 weeks are up. You're in India. Are you still with the choir at this point?
No, I'm not. In fact, the choir is not here any longer.
Okay, so that's kind of gone by the wayside,
Yeah.
whatever
Right.
that ministry was, that's moved on. But you're going to stay connected with Eric and his family. How did that work?
I stayed connected. Well, I've been there 17 times now.
Wow.
So I just became family, and
You just kept going back
I
over
just kept
and just
going back
kept
over and-
responding and
yes.
yeah. So, Eric, did you have any kind of support? I mean, at one point with the choir, you had someone who supported you to go to the choir, or was your family pretty much on its own financially?
It's pretty much on its own.
Okay. So, and Troy, there's no ministry at this point. It's just you in your own heart's desire to go and find the village where you've known
Correct.
some of these
I
kids.
mean,
And
it
meet
started
them.
out through ministry, but it just grew to just keep going. And it just,
So tell me how. Okay, so Eric's here in the States. He's studying, which
Yeah.
is amazing. Continuing his studies, which, as you said at one point, you weren't able to study at all. You didn't go
Yeah.
to school. You couldn't
Yeah.
go to school, and now you are. What's the degree you're working toward now, Eric?
I came here to do my PhD, but and then I went to law school, And then from
Unbelievable.
law school, now I'm going to do my real estate because I became interested in property law.
Okay, so from someone who was unable to go to school to that's a God
And talking
story.
about taxes
Yes.
and mortgages.
Now I'm sure you never dreamt of that when you
No,
were.
no, I have
Ironically,
no idea.
his master's is in English literature.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
So, and he got through that. He even got to substitute at
yeah.
East Holmes at Highland and at West Holmes for English
Wonderful.
classes.
Wonderful. So tell me a little bit about your story on your end, Troy, and how you kept the connection with Eric's family and some of the ministry that's happened out of that.
Well, I did stay connected, went back quite often. We've not talked much about the elites and some of the slums in India, but Eric's sister worked in the slums in India for 4 years. She actually,
2014.
in 2014, she actually dropped some of her education at that moment to be able to go to the slums instead of being
Wow.
educated. So actually it was 2013.
Yeah.
I went there and we went to the slums where his sister was working, spent 2 weeks in the slums. Somebody here gave me $50 and said, just use it for whatever you need it for ministry there, whatever. So I bought water with it. And it just was so moving. These children, they're elites. They're the untouchables. They live on a caste system there. They're like the low of the low. And yet here we are. They're children like any other children, whether they're filthy dirty and the environment is truly stinky and gross, but they still hug you the same and need love the same. So we got water and gave them water with this $50 somebody gave me here. And when the time's up, I'm like, boy, my heart is just moved. This was so awesome. But they were like, yeah, but you know what? It's over and you're going back and the water is going to be gone.
Right,
And
right.
so that started the vision of the next step.
And our next step is going to have to be a break because I don't want you to break up what you're going to tell us about the wonderful ministry that is developed out of this. So, listeners, we're so glad you joined us. We will be right back after this here in the Circle of Friends.
Village Gift Barn in Berlin, Ohio carries one-of-a-kind finds, just as unique as you. Our elegant shop has everything you need to dress up your home and your wardrobe. We're dedicated to offering new, exciting merchandise. As you explore our 3 amazing floors, that's over 20,000 square feet, you'll discover everything from home decor and furnishings to a beautifully diverse women's boutique. Are your walls blank? Is your furniture blah? Do you never have anything to wear? We've got you covered. Stop by and let our friendly, knowledgeable team help you create a look that's all your own. Village Gift Barn is located in the heart of Amish country at 4755 State Route 39 in Berlin, Ohio.
You see all things into the corners of each heart. Everything is in your hands from the cradle to the stars. And you take our dreams and all we hope to be. Through joy and tears, pain and laughter, we know you'll never leave. Oh, you are a love divine. There's nothing better in this world that we could ever find. Oh, your truth gives life. You came to set the captives free, and you've opened up our eyes.
You see all things into the corners of each heart. Everything is in your hands from the cradle to the stars. You take our dreams and all we hope to be. Through joy and tears, pain and laughter, we know you'll never leave. Oh, you are a love divine.
We're back here in the Circle of Friends. And Troy, you were just about to tell us the next step after, you've been to India. This is your second time in India. And you're
Well, no, I've been there quite a few times.
More
this was
times than
now
that.
2013.
Okay, so you have been back to visit Eric's family
17 times, actually.
multiple
Right,
times.
right.
Multiple times. But in 2014, Eric, your sister is working in the slums.
Correct.
With the Dalit. That's
The
name of
Untouchables.
the
correct.
Untouchables,
Yeah.
yeah. And in the caste system, their value is like
They're
nothing.
the low of the low.
The low of the low. Go on from that story, Troy, and tell us. I can't even imagine being in that environment, number one. But as you described, you bought water for them, and the idea that, oh, okay, that's great, but you're going to leave and the water's gone.
Right, and that's where I was moved by it. But they said, the water's going to be gone, just as you said, Missy. And so Eric actually shared a vision. He said, I've had this vision for quite some time. This is literally a dream
Yeah.
of this orphanage that would be a little unique because it's for children who are the low of the low, and with a vision too that it will continue on for generations. So as they grow,
Wow.
they can become workers within the orphanage for the next generation and make a long-term impact physically, socially, spiritually, in many ways. And
Wow.
he explained to me this dream of the style of orphanage he wanted to operate because he wanted to give back from his past.
Okay, I'm going to break you right here for a minute. How old were you when you had this dream, Eric?
I have this dream basically my entire life.
So it's just been there for you.
Yeah.
Because was it built out of the experience you had in the children's
Very
choir and
much.
seeing United States and then everything that's
It's very much so because when I passed high school, I went to college. At that point, I was so broken. I was so I lost faith in everything because part of me broke, and then I went to school.
Okay, put this in context for me, because how old were you when in 2014? Like, where were you at in your life? Were you in college then?
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point in time, you're because we're telling two tracks here.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
right.
We got Troy's,
Yeah.
what he's going through and what you're going through, and the years are passing. Things
Yeah.
are going on.
Yeah.
And so when you come to the United States as a young child, then you go back home and you focus on your studying and you
Yeah.
actually get into college
Yeah.
and you're in college. And this is where you've already shared with us earlier in the week that you had some struggles spiritually.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where you're at
Yeah.
right now. Would
Yeah.
that be
Yes.
in
Yeah.
2014,
Yeah.
basically where you're at?
Yeah. Right.
Okay. And your sister has ceased some of her studying to go into the slums.
Yeah.
Yeah.
correct.
Were you with Troy at that time, or was he just with your sister?
No, I was with.
You went
him.
into the slums too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So wow, and you're still struggling, and I can only imagine.
At this time, I think I was not. I was not struggling anymore.
So you kind of worked through
yeah.
that.
Yeah. Before that, I was struggling because I came to the city and my friends worship their gods and I worship my God, and I see no difference between me and my friends.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, if I don't know this God personally, then I'm not going to bother. So I read about Buddhism, I read about Hinduism, and to learn about the gods. But there's still part of me even at that moment when I'm about to go astray in a way, there's still part of me that longs for, because I came here experience people who exude that love,
Yeah.
who overflow that love in me,
Yeah.
and that holds me back.
Yeah.
When I was about to transcend and I see all this religion and because they're more tangible, they went and sacrificed and they're forgiven. It's
Right.
more tangible, it's touchable, it's
Right.
seeable,
Right.
it's doable.
It's a workspace kind
yeah.
of thing. Yeah.
But through all my research and through all my journey through different religion, I always part of me say, okay, like in my mind I say I'm not going to bother if I don't know God personally because it's useless, but part of me still cling to it.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people who overflow, people who say they believe in Him and who worship Him. I can't let go of the love they bestowed on me on His name. So that still clings me to
Yes.
that God.
Yes.
And then those people, and they might not even realize it today, but they're the one who hold me to God's love
Wait,
without even knowing it.
I'm just going to break it right here for a minute because I think this is really important. You're really telling us that the expression of love that was showered upon
Yeah.
you when you came here as a
Yeah.
child by people who didn't know you, who couldn't
Yeah.
even speak. You
Yeah.
couldn't speak to one another.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
No.
There was no communication there, truly.
Yeah.
On a level where if you wanted apple
Yeah.
juice, you had to
Yeah.
say orange juice, please,
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
and you didn't get the apple
Yeah.
juice. You still, despite all that, felt and received their love, and it made such an impact on you that it carried you through that time in your life where you're saying, I just don't know if this, I don't get it, you know.
Yeah.
And truly, a lot of us go through that. I mean,
Yeah.
especially if you're raised in a Christian home, it can become rote,
Yeah.
or it's just something you do because you do it, and
Yeah.
but it has to become a personal thing. And I love that about your story.
Yeah.
That you were doing those things, as you told us earlier in the week, but you didn't have that personal relationship.
No.
I love the illustration of
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln. Like, you know who Abraham Lincoln
Yeah,
is, but
yeah.
you've never shook his hand
Yeah.
and said, "How
There
do
was
you
no
do?" And he
personal
didn't- yeah, there's
relationship.
no personal relationship there.
Yeah.
But now, in your struggles to kind of figure this out,
Yeah.
how did you work through that?
And I began to like I say I'm not going to bother, and I began to research on all religion, but part of me still feel like, okay, there are people who really worship him, who know him, and who can show love beyond human love. Because human being, I see the worst side of human being.
Yes.
But that's the best side. It brings the best side of human being, and there's that God they worship, and it still drove me to it. And so I say, okay, I feel like I've been giving God a missed call all my life, like one end phone call, and I've been dialing his number all my life, every night, and I pray every morning. It's like dialing a phone, and there was no answer. It kept ringing, and then I keep talking on my side, and then he never answered me back. And it's stupid. Like, if you make a phone call, continuously make a phone call and talk to your phone by yourself, I feel stupid. I feel it's meaningless, and I feel meaningless. And I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm giving a phone call where there's no answer from the other side.
Yeah.
And I've been miscalling God all my life. And I say, okay, I'm going to stop miscalling this God, and I just exist. I continue living my life, and I just exist. And I'm going to study, and if I don't meet this God, and I won't meet him. If that is the way my life is going to be, let it be. And then when I lose all faith, when I lose hope, and John 3:16 came to me.
Wow.
Whosoever believe, because I was surrounded by people who don't believe in him.
Yeah.
And the verse say, whosoever believe him should not perish but have eternal life.
Wow.
And the whosoever believe, I was a broken kid. I came from headhunting tribe, was broken, hunted down, and forsaken him in a sense.
Yeah.
But through it all, whosoever believe,
Yeah.
there was no bar, there was no loop. It doesn't say whosoever who have not forsaken him.
Right.
Right.
It's all inclusive.
Yeah.
Whoever,
Yeah.
whosoever.
Yeah.
And I love this verse, which is so familiar to probably every American, whether
Yeah.
they believe or not. But for God so loved.
Yeah.
And Eric, as you've shared your story, it's this love that God has poured on you through people who has kind of kept you connected. Like you may have wanted to run from God, but he had his hand on you the whole time. I love that. That is
that even me thing.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
Yes.
that I'm loved.
Yes.
Because if there is a criteria, I would have failed in every criteria. I was not educated enough. I was not tall enough. I came from a long line of headhunters who have shed so many human blood,
Right.
who have killed for their belief.
Yeah.
And I went through war where I see people killing and where I see hatred, and I go through it, and I lost faith in humanity when I was told to love people.
Yeah.
Even when I received so much love, I was broken, and I even say, okay, if I don't know this God, I won't worship Him. But if it was that criteria, I failed in everything.
Yeah.
I am the guy who failed in every criteria, if not for the word whosoever.
Yeah. Wow.
So that, and I was like, oh my gosh, it says whosoever.
Yeah.
There's no criteria. No matter how broken I am, no matter how hatred I feel toward people who rage war, because at one point I was very angry.
Oh.
I was broken but angry at
Yes.
people.
Yes, because of what you had seen.
Because they
Yeah.
take everything away from me and
Yes.
everything I know and
Yes.
my belief. They, apart from the physical thing they took away from me, it was the loss of hope in
Yeah.
humanity that they take away from
Yeah.
me. So there was pretty much hatred in my mind. And so I failed I feel like I would have failed in every criteria, but then the word whosoever believe in Him should not perish.
Yeah.
And I have no reason to believe, because whosoever is whosoever.
It's whosoever. That's exactly right.
So
Exactly
if I choose to believe Him now, then I would be His child. And that moment was the first time Abraham Lincoln God say, Eric, nice to meet you.
Eric, nice to meet you.
And I say, God, nice to meet you. And finally I hear a hello from the other side of the line.
Oh, that is beautiful
Yeah.
illustration. Just beautiful.
Yeah.
An amazing story. And guys, you're not going to believe it. We're at the end of our day today.
I've heard this so many times and I'm crying.
I know. It's amazing. And here's the connection, listeners, for you and I, that all of us have got to do that.
Yeah.
We, until we accept the gift that God has given us.
Yeah.
There is no
Yeah.
connection. There is no hello,
Yeah.
God, how are you? And hello, Missy, how are
Yeah.
you? That meeting, that
Yeah.
relationship begins at that moment
Yeah.
when we accept the gift that Christ has given us in the "For God so loved the world that whosoever
Yeah.
believes in
Yeah.
Him will not perish but have eternal
Yeah.
life." What an amazing verse. What an amazing God. What an amazing story. And unfortunately, we're going to have to end for the day, but we will be back, listeners. You really don't want to miss any of this stuff. It is such a powerful story. Thanks again, guys, for being here.
You're welcome. See you tomorrow.
Yeah, come back tomorrow,
Yeah.
listeners. We'll join you here in the Circle of Friends.
Thanks to generous donations, this program is produced by Circle of Friends Ministries. You can write to us at P.O. Box 345, Berlin, Ohio 44610, or contact us at 330-852-0000. You've found a place to belong.